Hello, I'm Darius Hannah. As I've gone through life, I've experienced a variety of things that have shaped who I am and who I want to become. I've been given an opportunity by the Robert H. Smith School of Business to represent something greater than myself. I ask myself if I'm alone in my worldview. I've recruited a few students to sit down and ask them some questions to see if we can't find out the answers.
Just let me know when we're recording. You ready?
I think so.
So, here's my icebreaker. Think that you have a nice beard.
Thanks.
If you could think of your family that came before you, why would they be proud of who you are today?
I was the first one to go to grad school and get my master's. Purchased a house, started a family, started my own business.
I'm a Jewish American. My ancestors came here during the early 1900s, so they missed the Holocaust, but they still faced a lot of discrimination because of their religion. I've always been raised to be a person who sees everyone as equal and to try and raise up people who have been oppressed the best that I can.
I am intentional about breaking generational curses. I work very hard to foster peace and independence and joy in my life.
I think they'd be proud of me because I always try to do the right thing, and that's something that's instilled in me by the morals and the values they taught me. So it's not a simple matter of right or wrong, it's what you can do in the circumstances with the tools you're given.
I'm from Peru, so my relatives are from Peru as well. I have some from Spain. So I think they will be really proud because they came from a really humble beginning. So the fact that I have been able to even study abroad, for instance, that's something that I don't think they imagine as possible. So being here in the US and representing my country, and I think that will make them really proud.
What unflattering assumptions do people make about you?
Oh, Lord. People make a lot of unflattering assumptions about me, to be honest.
Sometimes people think I'm fake. I'm really energetic. I sometimes have a larger than life personality, especially if I'm in a room where I feel I could be really authentic. And for people who are just meeting me, that can sometimes come across as disingenuous. Sometimes I have to work hard and have relationships be prolonged for people to realize that that's just me. That's who I am.
You know, I'm of Indian descent, and oftentimes when I walk into a place that's frequented by more Indians, they automatically assume I'm white just because of the way I look, when that couldn't be further from the truth.
I think one of the most unflattering assumptions people can make about me is that I am perfect or I am striving for perfection. I am not. I find that what people think about you has a lot more to say about how they feel about themselves than it does you.
Sometimes people kind of put a label on me from a perspective of maybe what I'm wearing or how I look, or think of me as one way just because of how you see me walking down the street. But it's not until you really get to know me that you really understand who I am. So it can be frustrating that way because we're not learning about each other and we're not building a stronger community because of biases like that.
I think that many people assume that I am not active, just looking at how I look, but I've been laughed at for that. But it's just that I love playing sports, I love walking, I love running, I love hiking. So I know that there are some certain assumptions which people make, but I've been glad that I've been able to prove many of them wrong. So I would say that these unflattering assumptions has actually helped me improve as a person.
I went to go play pickup soccer at this event, and I was probably the only or one of the only white guys there. And some of the people there, when they were passing the ball to me, would call me white boy. And that's unflattering because, that's not my name, and that's not how I would identify myself.
When people first look at me, I think sometimes they don't think that I'm the most intelligent person, especially being in education and teaching in spheres where I teach people who look like me. There have been times where I've had conversations with people and then I'll say something that's like, oh, I didn't think that you would say something like that. Why not?
my country, or every country is portrayed in a certain conventional and contemporary manner within mainstream media, and that leads people to believe that those notions or those characteristics about that country or community are true. There have been occasions where I have been put on the same pedestal as a misogynist because mainstream media has portrayed my country to be a place where women's safety is an issue. I have been questioned about my belief towards tolerance amongst different parts of the community because, again, my nation has been portrayed on mainstream media to be very fragmented and socioeconomically divided, and constantly in this turbulent environment where people are willing to fight each other and have disputes and hostility.
Misconceptions that people have had about me is that either I can't speak English because of the cultural stereotype that Asians are very quiet or they don't speak up. The assumption is that I would be quiet or that I'm a pushover, and that because of that people feel like it's okay to overlook.
It's pretty obvious in Middle Eastern. People do have a negative stigma when it comes to Arabs. You tell someone you're Middle Eastern and I don't like to use the word, but the very first thing they think of is you're a terrorist. They don't even bother to try to talk to you or ask you questions. I mean, again, this is some of the things that I have seen. You can't be friends with everybody. You cannot make everyone like you.
Can you name something that makes you angry?
Ooh. Ignorance.
It's a powerful word.
Ignorance makes me incredibly angry. I think that a lot of people choose to be ignorant during this time because they think that politics or injustices are too hard to deal with or too emotionally taxing. But I think that people, especially people with privilege, owe it to those that have been oppressed and the people that have been oppressed because of their part that privileged people have played in a system that has oppressed them. I think that choosing to be ignorant towards what's going on is incredibly cruel and not right.
Inequity. The inequity of my grandparents. They kind of grew up in an era where they didn't have all the same opportunities as everybody else. And I sometimes feel that may have impacted my family down the line, and I'll never know how much that has impacted us. So where would I be today if they had the same rights and the same experiences that the rest of their peers had?
This can be one of the most uncomfortable topics to bring about, but definitely racism is something that does make me angry to this day. And we're giving this opportunity to leverage social media and technology to amplify, again, voices of minority communities who do deal with, racism on a daily basis.
The word hate, just because I feel like there's also a lot of that in our country right now, and in the world as well. Whether that's hate towards people that don't have the same opinions as you, that don't look like you, just in general, I think there's too much of that today.
Being complacent, being closed-minded. I guess the word is stuck. People who are stuck in their ways, in their views. That's what really angers me is the inability to see something else and to move forward and become better.
Intolerance, and when I say intolerance, I mean the lack of the ability of somebody to tolerate somebody else. I have certain traits and beliefs that I very strongly acknowledge and I very strongly relate to, but that is no reason for me to be intolerant towards somebody who has beliefs and practices that are different than mine.
Living in a nation with people who are extremely closed-minded and not willing to, again, listen to the ideas, perspectives, and experiences of other people. You can't see how other people think and walk in their shoes. How do you expect to be able to make a change?
Yeah.
Violence. Seeing violence happen, or even violent words. I think violence points to a lot of underlying issues because they haven't been addressed before.
What did the Smith School do to prepare you for the world?
I quite literally traveled the world. I studied abroad 3 times. Once in Cape Town, South Africa, once on the Hong Kong, Dubai trip, as well as a semester in Milan, Italy. The Robert H. Swiss School of Business taught me how to be a global citizen and to think with an innovative mindset. I did that by developing my cultural competencies. I did it by meeting new people. I did it by being challenged by the curriculum, both in the Smith School and at partner schools and the curriculum of the world.
Last year, I went on the trip to South Africa through Smith, and I learned so much more about my privilege on that trip than I ever have learned before. It forced me to address things that I usually didn't think about, and to to have conversations with people who are different than me that I never would have really felt comfortable to have, and just to hear about other people's experience and what Smith has brought to them, and what businesses are dedicated to do in their socially responsible mission can be so impactful to the world.
What did the Smith School do to prepare you for the world?
Oh, Smith humbled me. Smith introduced me to people who were far smarter than me, far more driven than me, far more organized than me, far more anything than me, to the point where I entered Smith thinking I would be, as an out-of-state student, some sort of big fish. No, I was not even the tip of the iceberg of level of talent I was introduced to.
Smith really has given me a really big eye-opening to a lot of cultures. In my past, I did consulting, and I worked with a lot of different people from around the world, and seeing where people are coming from in my age range has been really eye-opening. I've learned a lot about my peers that are here in the States and what their backgrounds are. Their backgrounds are a lot of times very different than mine. A lot of the women that have been in the cohort, they've been tremendous. I've learned so much from them this year where I didn't really work with as many women in the workforce. And so, I've really gotten to broaden my horizons of different cultures. It's just been a beautiful thing to work with everyone at Smith.
So I did my bachelor's in computer engineering, and I'm specializing in information systems in Smith School right now. So I think that from my experience, data is something that can do wonders. And majoring in information system actually enables me to understand the data and work towards a better future.
So I think Smith exposed me to a lot of different things. I would say, one, the faculty, so being in an environment with faculty who are extremely accomplished, but at the same time are extremely humble. Being around a diverse group of students in the business school, because I did it for undergrad, but also my master's programs, and just being able to work with tons of people from different backgrounds, international students who may have moved to this country maybe 10 years ago. So I think it's just been able to help widen my exposure to people who are different than me.
David, what are you prepared to do?
I am prepared to listen. I am prepared to apologize. I am prepared to own up to mistakes that I make, but I'm prepared to try. I'm prepared to put myself in uncomfortable situations, and I'm prepared to put my best foot forward.
I am prepared to listen and listen actively, because listening is not just a passive act, and it's not just listening so that you can come up with a response, but actually listening to what they're saying, even if you don't have a response.
I'm prepared to give back. I owe a lot of people that have helped me get to where I am today, and I might not necessarily pay them back directly, but I owe helping the community, helping the next generation, helping people that are looking to get in my position or further back. And so every day I strive to give any guidance, any advice, give my perspective, and just talk positively for people. And that's how I try to give back every day.
I'm prepared to inspire people, not only because what I've learned through my MBA and all of that, but I think I have a strong personality. I'm very determined, as I said, and I think that really translates into a lot of passion. And I think people can really feel that and absorb it and get really energized and motivated by it.
I try to live my life every day with self-awareness, and I do this because I'm trying to understand what love is and how to exercise that. And I think that I will directly, by either having a conversation with someone and explaining my train of thought, or by indirectly just expressing my love to them, it'll then create a chain reaction for that person to do the same.
I think I make a difference every day by leveraging my gifts to encourage people to think differently about their lives, whether it's how you think differently about your potential or to think differently about societal issues. I think we make the world a better place every day. You don't have to wait to have a title, a platform, a certain number of followers in order to have influence in your life, in your community, and in the world at large?
What I think that I'm best prepared to do is to strike a good balance. A balance between being able to come as close as possible towards my personal aspirations, but at the same time leverage whatever I manage to earn and learn during that journey. So what I try to do is identify the problem that I relate to the most, identify the problem that probably causes the maximum agony to me, and then I'm going to try my level's best to target that.
Just be more aware of things that are going on in the world, and I think that we're even more connected nowadays than we used to be. And that's just, it's such a great improvement to bring people together and learn about each other.
I'm prepared to continue and commit myself to creating positive changes in all the avenues of life that I see fit.
I am prepared to lead, I'm prepared to learn, and I'm prepared to give back.
Is just to spread happiness. And I want to be able to look back on my life and say people were happy to be in the company, to have me as a friend, to have me as a family member, and that's ultimately my goal.
By me starting my own business, I am able to help more people. I am able to offer more jobs, help people, learn, get better at what they're not good at. Just be positive, teach them how to stay positive.
Culture can best be defined as the set of traits one acquires from the environment that they're raised in. It's not uncommon for me to be judged based on my appearance. You see, everyone has a cultural bubble that they develop, and this controls their perspective and their perception of reality. This is modern-day anthropology, and we're conducting this ethnographic research to help you answer the question.
What are you prepared to do?
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 What are you prepared to do?